Hello everybody and welcome to my knitting podcast, Unwind and Knit with me. My name is Lisa and I'm coming to you from the South Island of New Zealand, Christchurch. And I would like to say a big welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you are a new viewer to my channel, welcome. And I hope you enjoy the content. This is my little space where I talk all about knitting and my yarns and my patterns and what I've been up to in my little knitting world. So welcome. This is episode 53 and today is Thursday the 29th of February. So yeah, it's a leap year. Yeah, 29th of February. That kind of sounds different, doesn't it? Yeah, I'd like to just say a big welcome. You can also find me on social media on Instagram and Facebook as Unwind and Knit with me. And I also have a website where I have my little yarn shop, which is unwindandknit.com. So if you haven't been over to my website to have a look, please do. I'm sure there's be something there that you just love. Everything I talk about on my podcast, I leave show notes for. So any patterns or yarns or tutorials or books or anything that I may discuss, I will always leave the links below in my show notes. So I think that's everything for all the admin. I do want to say a big thank you. So Waitangi Day is our national day here in New Zealand, and I had a one-time sale for 24 hours, and I've never had a sale before, and it was super popular. So thank you to everybody that supported that sale, and I hope you got lots of goodies. It was a really busy day and it certainly exceeded my expectations. So thank you, a big thank you to everybody that got behind my one-day sale. If you've been following me for a while also, you'll probably know I have talked about a trip that I'm taking in May. I'm off to Canada. I haven't been to Canada before and I'm super excited. And I am going to Knit City in Toronto. So it's a really busy time leading into there, but yeah, I'm really excited. So I just thought I'd mention that because everything's booked in, all my flights, all my accommodation. I'm starting to get really excited with, obviously, I mean, it's nearly March, right? And I feel like I'm just getting over Christmas. So it's been a really busy time. What my husband and I do is we take about 10 days off at Christmas, which is the time that his company closes down. And then he goes back to work early January. And because we don't have school-age children, that works for us. And then late January, February, when all of his staff are back, then we take another holiday of about 2 weeks. So we take holidays once all the school goes back. So, which is why I haven't podcast to you sooner, because we've been away. We've been away for 2 weeks. I only got home a few days ago. So I feel like I'm in quite a bit of catch-up mode. But it has been a busy time, but also coming into a really busy time. So because we're going into our autumn and winter, we have a lot of yarn festivals and knitting sort of festivals here in New Zealand. So there are 4 dates that I am going to be attending some of these wool festivals where you can come and see all my wool, like in person for real. I'm going to leave all the dates in my show notes below, but I thought I would just give them a quick shout out. So the first one is Sunday the 14th of April. I'm going to be at Knit and Gather in North Canterbury, which is quite, it's my region here. And this is the first time the ladies are putting together a, so I would call it a knitting retreat because I think it goes for a couple of days, but I'm only going to be there on Sunday the 14th as a trader. So I'll leave the details in my show notes for that. And then after that, it's the beginning of May, the 4th of May, I'm going to be down south in Gore. And the ladies there are hosting Southland Fibre Festival. so I think this might be a first time as well, but I'm going to be there on Saturday the 4th of May as a trader. Then I go to Canada. I'm away for about 3.5 weeks. I did get an invite this year to the Auckland Wool Fest, and I would love to go, but it falls right in the middle of my Canadian trip, so hopefully I'll be at the Auckland one next year. But then I get back from Canada, and on Sunday the 16th of June is the big Christchurch Wool Feast yarn show, which goes for one day, and there's traders from all over the country, so I'll be there. And then after that, still to be confirmed, but I'm going to Fibretron in Hamilton, which is Saturday the 20th of July. So April, May, June, July are going to be crazy busy times, but really exciting times because it's all about wool and the wool industry and knitting and all of these events that that get put on. I know a lot of work goes into putting them on behind the scenes, but they're so worth it. So if you are going to be in any of those areas, check out the show notes and pop it in your diary and make sure you come along. Okay, I think that is all of my admin things that I had to talk about. So I'm nearly 7 minutes in and I haven't even started talking about knitting. But yeah, so before I go into what I'm wearing and my finished objects and my works in progresses, once again, a big thank you and welcome. And please, if you haven't yet, please subscribe, hit that subscribe button and thumbs up. The other thing I wanted to mention too, and it's an apology, I read all the comments that people leave me on YouTube, and I've always replied, but I'm a bit behind. So if I haven't replied to your comment yet, I'm really sorry. I have read them all, but like I said, I feel like I've just been a little bit time poor in the last 2 months, and I will get around to replying to your comments, but please feel free to leave any comments on YouTube. Okay, now let's start talking about knitting. Okay, I'll talk about what I'm wearing. I actually, I feel not quite put together today. I've been to the hairdressers and I had a haircut, and we're playing around with the idea of maybe growing my fringe out. And so it's at that awkward stage that I actually just want to get the scissors and cut it back in. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but if you find that I'm just like playing with my hair, that's why. I'm transitioning, I should say, into having a fringe or not having a fringe, but I feel quite awkward. Anyway, what I'm wearing the Daily Pullover by Purl Soho. I knitted this last year, late last year actually, and I wanted to wear it again today because I love wearing this. I wear it a lot and I feel really comfortable in it, and I've got a couple of other top-down raglans that I want to show you. What I've decided is top-down raglans are my thing. I love a raglan set in sleeve. I feel comfortable in it. I love the wide neck. So I thought that I would just talk a little bit today about some of my basic raglans versus some of the other jerseys that I've done. So I think it's really important as a knitter to work out and decide what works for you, because we've got, you know, the yoke construction, we've got drop shoulders, we've got so many styles available, and I've decided that my style is a top-down raglan. So I'll talk about some of those. There's also there's some really good groups that you can join. I think most of them cost money, but they'll actually talk you through about styles and how to find the style that works for you and how to knit the perfect fitting garment for you. So if you haven't yet decided what works for you, one of those groups might be really quite valuable to join, even if you only join it for 6 months or 12 months. But I mean, you can do a search. I don't really want to promote one over another one because that just wouldn't be right. But if you do a search, I know in New Zealand there's a couple that are really quite informative, and that might be able to help you find what works for you rather than just knitting garments that you're not happy with or don't fit well. But anyway, I'm just waffling on now. Daily Pullover by Purl Soho. The reason I love this is because you can adapt it really quite easily. It can be a really good wardrobe staple. So you could do stripes, you could do it oversized and boxy. There's a photograph of it there in quite a boxy, cropped boxy style. But one of the features I loved about this was the V-neck, and you do this center double decrease here to get that bit of detail. And I also knitted this in a yarn. It's a New Zealand dyer that goes by the name of Prosper Yarns, and this yarn does have a little fleck of linen in it. But it's a nice summer sort of garment that's I don't overheat in, and that's probably why I really like it as well, because it is sort of quite boxy on me, and it's I feel really comfortable in it, and I don't feel like I overheat in it, which is why I'm wearing this today and not this, because this I would overheat in. This is a DK. This is my latest finished object, so I will talk about that. But yeah, so what I'm wearing is the Daily Pullover by Purl Soho, and I do really recommend it as even as a first timer. If you haven't yet ventured into top down raglan sweatshirt, I recommend that as a first time project. It's quite a well written pattern. So this is my finished object. Let me get my notes here. So last year I delved into that rabbit hole, which is Ravelry, and I came across a designer called Thea Colman, and she goes by the name, her patterns are under the heading of Baby Cocktails. I think that it's either the range or that's her company name. But this one I've knitted here is called The Widow's Kiss. That's it there, by Thea Colman. Now this, there was a few different things in here for me that took me out of my comfort zone a little bit. So this was done from the bottom up, which I haven't had a lot of experience in. Most of my garments have been top down, which I do prefer. I like being able to try them on as I go, and there's benefits to both, but this did take me out of my comfort zone a little bit. So the yarn I used was Appledore DK, and this comes out of the John Arbon Textile Mill in the UK, and I sell this range, this Appledore range, and there's probably about 16 colours. The colour I chose is actually very much like the one that she has done hers there in, and this colour is called Payhembury. And I know a couple of my customers have bought sweater quantities of this, so I'm guessing that you're doing this. So I can't wait to see those. If you've done them, pop them over on our Facebook community group so I can have a look. This Appledore DK, it's quite a rustic yarn. It's not super soft to the skin, and if you are a little bit sensitive to itch, this won't be a good yarn for you if it's something that you want to wear close to your skin. So I really recommend this yarn for outerwear. This I will probably wear a little singlet or camisole under it, although I don't find it too itchy. And I must say it's softened up a lot when I wet blocked it. It is a lot softer. And the other thing I know about this yarn, because I've knitted a cardigan, the Winter Beach cardigan, is that the more you wear it, it softens, and it's like an old pair of jeans. It just sort of molds around your shoulders, and it just gets better the more you wear it, and it does soften the more you wear it. The reason I love this yarn also for the Winter Beach cardigan and this one is that it's really nice for cables. You can see the cable work through here, and it just holds the pattern really nicely. where I find that mohair, which is merino, which is super soft to the skin, can actually grow and stretch a bit, and it doesn't always hold that. It doesn't have the structure for cable in that I feel that this has. I hope that makes sense. I just feel like it's a really nice structured yarn. And Thea Colman in this pattern, she has said that the yarn that she has chosen is more of a rustic yarn. So this sort of fits the brief beautifully. So that's the Appledore DK that I used. When I finish talking about this, I'm going to insert a video, which is a bit awkward. I hate taking videos of myself. But I have done a short video of me wearing it, and I'll turn around and you can see the back and the front. It is a little bit oversized, which I wanted for the fact that I don't want it close to my skin. I want it to be a little bit boxy and baggy. I love the wide neck. That's my thing. Love the wide neck. There is also, and you're not going to be able to see it, I don't think, but there is a seam. Yeah, it's not showing up very well. There is a seam that runs down both sides. So it's a nice little bit of detail. The other thing I'll say about this is a 32 row pattern repeat, and you knit up, and it doesn't tell you what row to stop on. It just says knit until you're comfortable with the depth of the body before you start, before you add in the sleeves and start the top section. So out of the 32 row repeat, you can see these bits here where it's all 2x2 rib. So I worked out that row 22 was where that 2x2 rib started. So I knitted, that's where I stopped, was row 22. I added in my sleeves and worked up that top. And it worked really well. I was really happy that I did that. When there is a couple of little mistakes in it, and I thought I made a mistake, but it didn't jump out to me, and it wasn't until I wet blocked it and laid it out I thought, oh yeah, that's a mistake. And you're probably not even going to see it. No, you're not. So it's on this seam. Let me see if I can move her. It's on this seam here where I kind of, I don't know, I misjudged it, and there's a wee little step that shouldn't be there, but you're never going to notice it. So there's a couple of wee mistakes, but nothing to nothing that stressed me out enough to feel that I had to pull it out. But I did everything to pattern. I did the size 5. I probably could have got away with the 4. I don't know what's going on with me lately, but I am choosing larger sizes than I probably actually need. I need to look at my measurements a bit better, because I don't think I'm really a size 5. I think I could have really done the size 4. Not to worry. I like things a bit oversized and boxy. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing it. Like I said, bottom up. I don't enjoy as much as top down, but I'd certainly do it again. It was well worth it. I would do it again for a pattern like that. But yeah, I hope I can tempt you into doing that. It is really lovely. What I'm going to do now is just insert a little video, and you can actually see me wearing it and see the back and the front. Okay, so that was my Widow's Kiss by Thea Colman. The other thing I did with it is there's not a lot of short rows between the back and the front. I think there was only 2 or 3. So I have popped a wee little tag on there. It just says handmade. yeah, it just says handmade. I've sewn on a little leather tag that I got from my local yarn store, just so I knew which was the back and which was the front, because there's not a lot in it. But yeah, there she is, all finished, all blocked. There's that side seam that I was talking about. But I just need the seasons to change for it to cool down enough for me to be able to wear it. Okay, I'll put that down. Okay, so the first whip, actually I don't have too many whips, but this whip that I want to talk to you about, I showed you in a previous podcast, and you will guess that there's a theme here, which is Raglan and Thea Colman. So this is Blueberry Vodka Lemonade, once again by Thea Colman. And what really there's a bit of glare going on there, isn't there? What really attracted me to this pattern was, once again, it's a raglan, it's got a wide neck, it's got all those things that I love, but it's actually, turn it around, it's this detail along the raglan. And it's just this little moss stitch with yarn overs that has just created this beautiful bit of detail. And then that same stitch continues. See if I can turn her around. You see it there on the side, that it continues down both sides. With this pattern, I did go down a size. I'm doing the size 4, and what I found really interesting is we always do the band, the ribbing, generally in a size or half a size needle smaller, and then we change to a larger needle for the body. Well, in this pattern it's completely reversed. So the actual, you cast on and you do the ribbing in a 4mm, which I think is a US 6, but the band is done in a 4mm, and then you change to a 3.75 for the actual body. And I thought that was really quite interesting. But it's obviously because it is quite a loose, relaxed collar that she has done that. And then it's all stockinette stitch. So I'm at the really fun stage of this garment now, where it's just really good, relaxed TV knitting. It's just the sleeves and the body. The sleeves, you can see here, it's just a half sleeve or a 3/4 sleeve, and she's left them quite like a balloon sleeve. There's not a lot of shaping or decreasing in the sleeve. It's a very slight decrease, and then there's a rapid decrease before you do the band, which gives you this sort of nice loose fitting ballooned sleeve. This pattern, and also this one here, the one that I'm wearing, they're really nice, I think, templates for you to add your own touch to them. I think once you've done these and you understand the construction, it gives you lots of possibilities. And I know, I just love this detail here, and I just know that I'm going to do this again. You know, I may do a striped version, or I might do a version with a bit of mohair, or I don't know, but I just know that I will do this again. I've tried it on. I love the relaxed collar. I love everything about it. But there is a wee story about the yarn that I will share with you. So I have ventured into dyeing my own yarn, and I've sort of set myself up a little dye studio, and I've been playing around with the dye pots, which I'll talk to you about at the end when I do my shop update. I'll show you what I've been up to and what I've been creating. But I dyed 4 skeins of this yarn. This is 100% merino, locally sourced here. 4-ply, fingering weight, 400 meters per 100 grams. And I love the colour. And when I hung it to dry, I wasn't 100% happy with it. And I actually thought that maybe I'd kind of overcooked it a little bit. I wasn't happy enough for it to be yarn that I wanted to sell and put my name to. So I thought, well, that's a dilemma. I'm not going to waste it. So after it dried, I thought I'd cake it up and then I'd see what it was like. And if I thought that I'd messed it up, well, then I would donate it to my local yarn store for charity knitters. I wasn't going to just waste it. It was going to go to a home. So I put it on my Swift and I started winding it into cakes. And of course, when you do that, your hands are in it and you're feeling it and it's running through your fingers. And as I caked it up, I thought, this is actually really beautiful yarn. I didn't destroy it like I thought I had. It feels good. And I was really happy with the colour. And I thought, well, actually, this is too good to even give away. And I liked it that much that I cast this on with it. So it restored my faith a little bit in that actually my yarn's okay. The yarn that I'm producing and the yarn that I'm dyeing is pretty good. And this is it here. And like I said, I actually thought this was going to be a yarn that was going to be a seconds and not good enough. But it's more than good enough. I'm really thrilled with it. What I will say is with indie dyed yarn, we always say alternate your skeins. Do the, I think it's called Helical. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I'll leave the link for that below, but that's a technique that, it's a technique that you use to alternate the skeins, and that prevents any pooling of colour variation. But what happened, I cast this on the day before we went away and I only took one cake of yarn. So I was happily knitting, not even thinking about alternating skeins until I got down here and I got home and I thought, oh, I've run out of wool. I need to add my second skein. And then when I did that, I noticed a really slight variation in the blue. There's a little bit of pooling where it's a bit darker, and that's why we should alternate. But actually I love it. It's not even show, you can't even see it on that camera, but there is just some slight variation. But I think that's the beauty of what I would call a semi-solid. There is going to be a little bit of variation, and I wanted to share that story with you because I thought it was going to be a mess, and it's turned out way better than my expectations. I'm absolutely thrilled with it. So I am going to reproduce this and have it in my shop. With the yarns that I'm dyeing, if you are interested, if you go to my website, they're under NZ Yarns by Unwind and Knit with me. So they're New Zealand sourced yarns that are produced here in New Zealand that I'm dyeing under my own label. So that's the story behind this beautiful yarn. I'm absolutely thrilled. Oh, the other thing I did, so the body is a 3.75mm needle, and the pattern calls for the body and the sleeve to be done in that size. But I'm actually doing my sleeve in a 4. And I've talked about that before. The reason I do that is because they say that when we knit in a small circumference, like I am here, I'm using the 30 centimetre circulars. They say that we tend to knit a bit tighter in smaller circumference, and I know that I do. So I do generally go up a half a size or at least a quarter of a size in the needle when I'm doing the sleeve. Yep, I think that's all I've got to talk about with that one. But if you are interested in this colour, flick me an email or keep an eye on my online store, because I will have some more of it up there. It's the 100% New Zealand Merino. So, Blueberry Vodka Lemonade. Another top-down raglan. Beautiful, beautiful pattern. And once again, it's a pattern that I think you can adapt for your size. You know, you can sort of start one size, but then as you work down, you can actually go up a size, do some subtle increases or decreases, and have a play around with it so you get that perfect fit for you. So that's that one. And to be quite honest with you, I did cast on a pair of socks, but nothing to show you because I've literally only done that much. And I haven't cast on anything else new. But I have got some things that I want to cast on. But I've also got a couple of an old whip that I have pulled out of the naughty corner again. And I'm really going to try to finish it. So I'll just pack this up and I'll show you my next, what I'm up to. There is something new that I cast on. It's a very simple whip that, you know, sort of good for knit group or traveling, or just knitting that you don't want to, something that you don't have to think about. But that's this shawl that I've gone on about a lot in the past. It's called the Sylphe wrap. It's a really nice basic wearable little wrap. It's a one skein project, and it's a sort of thing that you can do without having to think about it. So I will include this pattern. It's on a wee postcard. I'll include that with any purchase of yarn that is under my label, Unwind and Knit with me. But I cast this on. This is in 100% merino. This is one that I dyed, and I've named it Roaring Meg because I was inspired by this gorge that we have down south called Roaring Meg. And it's, you can see there, it's just a really nice combination of blues and greys. That's it there, wound up into a cake. And I cast one on because I just needed some mindless knitting to do, and that's it there. So I have had a couple of people question me about it, because the pattern is basically cast on 6, cast off 2, knit to the end, repeat. And they go, well, what do you mean? So the cast on 6, you're literally just doing a cable cast on. Cast on 6, and then knit 1, knit the second one, pass it over. So that's decrease 1, knit 1, pass it over, that's decrease 2, and knit to the end. And that's what produces these little ridges, or they look like little, I don't know, ridges, teeth. And it's really, really effective. So that was a quick little cast on that I did. And if you've got that one skein in your stash, this is a perfect project for it. So that's the Sylphe wrap. Now, what was my next? So if you've been with me for quite a while, I'm going into my 3rd year of podcasting now. So this is nearly 3 years old, this whip. And I just lost interest, but it's my Marie Wallen all over colour work jersey, bottom up. And that's where I got to. And then I had to stop there because then I had to go off and knit the sleeves. And I just lost interest. Well, I am going to do it. I am going to finish this winter. So I did get as far as casting on 2 sleeves. Literally, I haven't even done the bands. That's all I've done. And I thought that I'd be clever and do 2 at a time, but I'm actually not going to. I think that's where I lost my mojo with it. I'm going to put one of these on hold and just do 1 sleeve at a time. And I'm really going to make a push and try to get that finished for this winter. I have got a bit of a urge to do colour work. I lost that urge for a little while and started doing a bit more lace work and just, you know, basic raglans. But I have started to get a little bit of my mojo back for doing all over colour work. But I've also promised myself I'm not going to start something new. I am going to finish this. This was a big investment. I bought it as a kit, and the yarn is, it's actually Marie Wallen's own brand. And I bought this kit from the Woolly Thistle in the States. So even just buying it from the States and getting it freighted to me cost a fortune. So financially, it's a big investment. and it really deserves to be finished. So that is the other whip that I wanted to talk to you about, and hopefully over my next few podcasts I will have made some progress on those sleeves. Fingers crossed. Let me just get my list. Okay, so I have a couple of new things that I want to cast on. Actually, there was one more thing. So I wanted to show you this one. I said that this episode I'd probably talk a bit about raglans because I'm wearing one. I've got this one which I love, but I wanted to also highlight this pattern that I've shown you before, but it jumped out at me, and I think it's another, like these two, a wardrobe staple that you will love and wear forever. But it's the Arco Iris by locatelli. This one here is done in DK, a DK yarn. Once again, it's got that deep V with the center double decrease like this one. Beautiful detail around the collar, detail around the sleeve and the bottom, and then the body's just all stockinette stitch. A friend of mine has knitted this. I haven't, but it is definitely on my radar. I do want to do it in this yarn behind me, and I actually think that was the colour that that I thought that I would do it in. So this is Knit by Numbers. This is by John Urban Textiles, and it's out of the UK. It's 50% Merino and 50% Blueface Leicester, and it's soft to skin. I've got over about 30 colours. There's about 100 colours in the range, but that is what that's the yarn I want to do this Arco Iris in. So jump over to Ravelry and have a look at that. If I have maybe got you a little bit interested in doing a top-down raglan, that's the DK option. Okay. In my last episode, which was a few weeks ago, I just have been really time poor, I feel, since Christmas, and I still can't believe that tomorrow we're going into March, because I still feel like I'm recovering from Christmas. But anyway, I do feel like I've been a bit time poor. But in my last episode, I showed you this. It's called the Riptide Slipover. And this came to my attention. I watch Knits and Pieces, which is Noelle and Callie, which are knitting podcasters from Canada. And they highlighted this pattern. And they've both knitted one and were wearing it. And I thought, yep, that's what I want to do. I need one of those in my wardrobe. So it's called the Riptide Slipover, and it's a vest. The lighting's not real good today. There's a few shadows. So this has a lace panel down the front. It's got detail down both sides. And I just love it. And I just think it'll be a really nice layering piece, whether it be over a t-shirt in the warmer seasons or whether it's over a full-on sort of merino base layer in the winter. It is done in a DK, but I think you could easily adapt that pattern if you wanted to do it in a fingering weight. And it's a vest, so it knits up quickly. It's got split hem down the bottom, which I also really liked. Jump onto Ravelry and have a look at it, and you'll see other people's projects. It's by JST Knitwear Design, and that's Jennifer Shields Toland. She's based in America. I'm pretty sure it was America, not Canada. But it's the Riptide Slipover. So once again, it's, I love this Appledore DK for outerwear, and because this is a vest that I would always wear it over at least a t-shirt, if not something heavier. Appledore would be perfect for it. This is Billy Down Pippin, this colour, which is sort of it's more of a green than a blue. It's not showing up that well. but that's what I want to do it. I want to do it in the Appledore. If you wanted something softer, definitely the Knit by Numbers is a DK softer version, a softer option. But like I said, because it's outerwear, I don't think it needs to be merino soft. So have I got you tempted? I don't think there's too much more to say about that pattern. Experience level, intermediate. I think you should give it a go. And I think because we're actually starting to, the weather's starting to cool down a little bit, and it's probably only a matter of a few weeks before the leaves start changing a bit gold as we go into autumn. And I just love these vests. I've knitted a few vests now, but I think they're really lovely layering pieces and sort of transitional pieces. So I will leave the link in my show notes for that vest. Like I said, DK, so either the Appledore or the Knit by Numbers would work for that. It's probably a good time to tell you now. I was going to leave it to the end. But I have these John Arbon Textiles. They're just a calico drawstring project bag. So any purchase of 3 or more of any John Arbon Textiles yarn, I will include free of charge one of these little project bags until sold out. So that's my gift with purchase offer for March. Okay, now the next one, and it's quite funny. So if you've watched my last couple of episodes this year, one of my, I suppose, New Year's resolutions was not to purchase patterns. I have hundreds of patterns, and if you've followed me, you'll know that I always feature a few new patterns on every episode. And I thought, this is crazy because I've purchased all these patterns that I love, but of course I haven't got time to knit them all, so they go into my folder. So I thought this year I'm actually going to pull some of those patterns out and knit them. I purchased them because I love them, so now it's just time to knit them. But a friend said to me the other day, so how's your New Year's resolution going, Lisa? Have you bought any patterns? And I have to say, it's March tomorrow. I've bought one. And the one that I bought is this Riptide slipover, the one I just showed you. That is the only pattern that I have purchased this year. So all the other patterns that I've shown you have been purchased before the beginning of this year. So I'm doing okay. I've only bought one. So I feel like that's a success. This pattern here, I didn't purchase. It was actually gifted to me. So that doesn't count. And the reason the friend gifted this to me, because she said to me, Lisa, one of the options that this designer gives you for this pattern is Yarnadelic, which is another John Arbon Textiles yarn. It's probably one of my most popular, like my customers love this yarn. It's lovely to work with. It's soft. It's a sports weight 5-ply. But Yarnadelic has been featured in this pattern, and that's why she gifted it to me. And I'm going to pronounce it Sylphe. S-Y-L. Sylphe? I don't know. But it's a shawl. And it's quite a big shawl. And I think if you wanted to do it in Yarnadelic, I'm pretty sure it takes 3. I think you need 3 skeins to do this. I've lost my glasses. So I just want to read you about this because it just, hang on, I'm going to get my glasses. Okay, so the designer of this pattern is Natasja Hornby, and she's Moonstruck Knits. And I have seen her interviewed on, might have been Fruity Knitting, but I really like her style. I like her aesthetic. But this shawl, it's a gorgeous shawl that weaves a tale of beauty. Watch the leaf pattern transform into an extravagant flowery border. guided by carefully described techniques in the pattern, and also helpful video tutorials. So yeah, it's a very well written pattern, and there is tutorials, video tutorials as well. But it is not sure if that's going to do it much justice, but jump onto Ravelry and have a look. And it's just called the Sylphe by Natasja Hornby. And I think there are a few different yarn options, probably 4 or 5 ply, but definitely the Yarnadelic would work for that pattern. I'm not, I've said it 100 times before, I'm not a big shawl wearer, and I don't knit a lot of shawls. They're just not really my jam, but this was gifted to me and it really did appeal to me, so I wanted to share it with you. The Sylphe. Okay, that's that one. What's next? Oh, so this is exciting. I'll take all this out. Sorry, plastic. So last year I did a little bit of spinning. I was gifted for my birthday an electric spinner, e-spinner. I do know how to spin. I was taught to spin maybe 15 years ago, and it is something I want to do more of, but I just haven't had the time. But anyway, I started spinning a bit last year, and I wanted to spin yarn with a purpose. I wanted it to be something that I was going to use, and this is the pattern. It's called Sea Glass Sweater by Wool and Pine, and this pattern has been written for scraps. You can use anything. It's meant to be multicolored, and it's a really good stash buster. But I also thought it would be really good for my hand spun, because it does call for a DK weight. Let me just double check that. It's been so long now. Yeah, it does call for DK scraps, basically. And my spinning isn't perfect, but I thought it probably would sit around that DK kind of weight. Now these are 3, I showed you that these last year when I spun them, they were in skeins. So yesterday I actually wound them into cakes. So they're 3 that I have spun. This one's got quite a bit of colour in it. See that there? They are 3 that I've spun. But then I also had these 2, which I didn't spin, but they're DK. I ended up with them in my stash, and they really have never had a home. So, is a really dark blue, and then that's a really dark grey. There it is. Let me see if I can do this. There's 5 skeins, 5 cakes of yarn that I'm going to knit this into. So I'm going to use my 3 hand spun, but I'm going to stripe it with those darker blue and the darker grey that I didn't spin. And it's going to be a bit scrappy, but I think it's just going to be so rewarding to have yarn that I have spun myself into a jersey that I can wear. So the only thing I've ever really knitted with my hand spun has been beanies. They're fast knits, they're rewarding, but I really want a jersey that I can claim that has been made out of my own hand spun yarn. So that pattern has once again come out to see the light of day, and I now have the 5 cakes ready to cast it on. So it is going to be a new cast on very soon, shortly. Okay. I have shown you this before, but I wanted to show it to you again because this yarn that I have been spinning, actually I've got a whole lot here that I want to show you at the end. it's finger in weight, 100% merino. This is another, you could wear it as a vest or you could wear it as a t-shirt, and it's called the Suri shirt v-neck. I'll leave the link below in my show notes. But that V, once again, it's a theme. That V is also at the back. So it is quite a relaxed fitting summer top, but could also be worn. I'd wear that as a vest in the winter. I'd layer that over like black tights and a black base layer. But I wanted to show you that again because I actually think only 2 skeins of my dyed yarn in merino is all you would need to knit that. Yeah, it is a see, 250 grams. Yeah, the gauge is about a finger in weight. Yarn is what you would need to get gauge. It's quite nice. There. And once again, I purchased that last year. It's not new. It's one of last year's ones. Okay, I'm just going to pause while I get this out of the plastic because I'm just there's too much rustling plastic noise right now. Okay, this pattern here is by Isabell Kraemer. It is a pattern that I purchased a couple of years ago, and it's called the Cullum, and it's a t-shirt. It's a summer weight top with a bit of lace work. It's done top down in the rounds. There's a little bit of detail around the bottom band. But this yarn is out of my stash, and I bought this last year at a wool festival in Wellington, here in New Zealand, and it's 50% alpaca, baby alpaca, 25% linen, 25% silk. So this is quite a luxurious yarn, and I only have 2 cakes of it, 400. So I've got 800 meters. Show you that there. It's just a pretty color. It's very variegated greens and pinks, and it's just a very pretty color. And I think the yarn is perfect for this pattern. The pattern actually calls for a yarn that I don't know, Quince & Co, I think. Yeah, I don't know much about the yarn that that the pattern calls for, but I know that this will be a wonderful substitute. So if you've got 2 skeins in your stash of that precious alpaca silk, or merino linen, just that beautiful summer weight yarn that you haven't given a home to, jump on and consider this pattern because I think it's really pretty. Cullum, there's that glare happening again, by Isabell Kraemer. So the pattern has been in my basket, and this yarn had been allocated for this pattern, but I've never started it. I've never cast it on, but I have got as far as winding one of them into a cake. And I know that once I cast it on, that lace work can be quite addictive, where you just want to get it done, and I think I could get that done quite quickly, and then the rest of it's just stockinette stitch. It's just easy peasy TV knitting. So that was the next thing on my list. Okay, and I'm going to pause again. Okay, I'd rather pause than crinkle paper and plastic, because it's one of my pet hates when I watch podcasters is the crinkling sound when they're unpacking things. So I don't want to be that podcaster that has all those crinkling sounds. So last year I subscribed to a yarn club, and it's the first time I've ever done it, and it's the only yarn club that I'm in. But it goes back to me wanting to spin more of my own yarn. And it's a South Island lady, and it's Handmaiden Yarn Club, and you can sign up to it, and every month she sends you a hand-dyed braid of yarn. Now this was the December one, which is quite Christmassy, which I haven't done anything with. This was the January one, which is just beautiful. It just reminds me of the beach. And I recently, well, not recently, I've been away. So just before I went away, I got the February one. And I hope I'm not spoiling anyone's surprise, but this is the February one. And that reminds me of really autumny type of tones, which is interesting because that one is summery and beachy and that one's autumn. But I wanted to share those with you because they are part of my little fibre journey that I'm on at the moment. And in the perfect world where we had lot more hours in the day to do our craft, I would like to spin some more. So there are 3 braids that I have, December, January, February, and tomorrow I'm probably going to get Marches. So in my next podcast I'll show you what the March one is, and hopefully by then I've at least spun one of them, or else I'm going to end up with this whole year's worth and not have any of it spun. But I do want to spin it and I want to put it into garments. I was also asked after my last episode if I would show some of the colours of, so this is a new range that I've put in, and it's Mondim. It's Portuguese yarn. Some people pronounce it Mondim. It's spelled M-O-N-D-I-M, and I've asked around and most people that I know have said, what's Mondim? So Mondim, however you want to pronounce it. It's 100% Portuguese wool. They call it their sock yarn. There's no nylon in it. It's quite a durable yarn, so it is wearable enough for socks, but also soft enough for garments. I also love it because it's really economical. So there's 400 meters and it sells for $25. So some of my customers asked me to show some of the colours that I've got, which I'm going to do. So this is a bit of a shop update now. But what I want to say about this range is I've just ordered about another 12 colours. So there's more coming. I am going to grow this range, this Mondim. So this one is, and they don't have names, they have numbers. But this is A573, and it's a beautiful, what I would call like an olive green. This is a very deep burgundy. It's a 303. I'm just showing you the single colours at the moment. A583. I love this colour. It's like a mushroom. I'd call it a mushroom, dusty pinky mushroom colour. And then there's the natural, which is just colour 100, which is the undyed. And this one I also love, which is 500, which is a very natural, neutral colour as well. But then what they do, and I've only got 4. I sold out quite quickly of the pinky ones, but they do these self-striping yarns, which are also 400 meters. M82. This is perfect if you want to do men's socks and they don't like brights or anything too out there. This is a perfect, I would really recommend that for, like, I'd use that to knit my husband's socks. What's that one? M82. This one I love too. It's probably more my jam. M77. There's some really lovely colours in that. Self-striping. This one is very blue. It's colour 212. It's not self-striping. The whole thing's just speckled. And this is a speckle as well. And it's 201. It's a lot of reds and purples. It's even like orange in there, but that's a speckle as well. And the other thing, like, you can see how you could pair any of those colours up with the solid if you wanted to do stripes. But I think there's about 8 or 9. But there's about another 12 coming. So they were in stock. They may actually be here by the time I do my next podcast. Fingers crossed. So that's what's happening. They're the swatches. I haven't got these for sale, but there are so many colours, and that's just in the Mondim. They do about 10 ranges, but I'm only stocking that one at the moment. So that is that. Mondim, however you like to pronounce it. I'm just going to get a drink. Okay, so this bit is a bit of a shop update, but it's also a bit of an insight to my dyeing journey that I've been on, dyeing wool. And what I have to say is it's very addictive. I'm having a lot of fun and I'm enjoying it. I am going to stay true to New Zealand only yarns, yarns that support the farmers here, but also support some of the local mills. So I'm quite excited about that as well. These colours that I'm going to show you only finished drying yesterday, so I haven't even wound them into skeins, and I haven't named them. And what I want to say is I find that is actually the hardest part of producing your own colour range, is actually giving them names. But this is 100% New Zealand merino, grown and spun here in the South Island. And this is the same yarn that I've used for this one here. I'm really excited about it. But I have this yellow, which I thought I might name them. So this one will be Lemon Grove. This one I thought I'd call Peach Grove. I think I might name them like after groves. But these are very pastel. This one is the one that got me started because I wanted a I know it's a bit like a sage green, or I wanted that colour for myself. There's a bit of shadow there. But that's like an olive. That's what I would call that, a light olive colour. This is just beautiful if you're into pinks. And then I have a brown and a blue. Those two there. There's a bit of shadow happening there. But these, hopefully by the time this is going to go live, probably later today, which is Thursday, hopefully by the weekend I have all these up and listed on my website. And if you search New Zealand yarns by Unwind and Knit with me, that's where you will find these colours. So that's, like I said, it excites me. I love it. I find it really addictive. And I think because it's one of those things where you can sort of express some of your creativity, which is really cool. These ones I've done on a sock base. And these are also all New Zealand yarns. And I've named these, certain things have inspired me to do these colours. And this one's called Spring Day. But this colour actually really reminds me of Cup Day at the races. So in spring here we have a spring racing carnival, like the horse races. And all the ladies get there with their dresses and their hats, and it's just beautiful. I love that spring racing carnival. And that's what this colour reminded me of, was actually Cup Day. But yep, so that one's called Spring Day. This one I've called Root Burn because it just reminds me of the mossy tracks. Root Burn's one of our great walks here in New Zealand, and it's sort of rainforest, and that's what it reminded me of. But there's that's a better one there, greens. So that one's called Root Burn. This one is called Castle Hill. Browns and blues. This one I love. I've just called this one To Be Bold and beautiful, because it's just bright pinks and purples and greys and blacks. This one's been really popular. I've called this one lupins in summer. So lupins here are an obnoxious weed that you see when you drive down south, and they're just there on the side of the highway. But they're pinks and purples, and I don't know. They're an obnoxious weed, but they're probably the most photographed obnoxious weed that I've ever heard of, that I've ever seen. You'll see cars lined up and tourist buses lined up to get photos of these lupins. But that's what inspired me with this colour. There's a lot of pink and purple. And last but not least is one that I've called Northburn, which is a high country merino station that we visit once a year. And it's dry and it's rugged, and I just love it. But this one I've called Northburn, and it's very just browns and neutral colours. So they're some of my yarns that I've done on the sock base, and I just want to keep going. I just want to keep dyeing wool. I find it really, really exciting. I'll take my glasses off now. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. So the other thing I wanted to mention too, I open my shop on some Saturdays. So this is just a little shop that's attached to my house. It's not like a big retail shop. I wish it's not. So I am going to open this Saturday from 10 to 2 if you're in Christchurch, if you're in the area. But also just check out those dates for the yarn festivals that are around New Zealand. There is one in Wellington that I won't be attending. There's the Auckland one. But, you know, if you're a knitter and you haven't been to one of these knitting shows, you really should go. There's just so much available of beautiful yarn, beautiful dyers. There's some amazing indie dyers in New Zealand that are producing some beautiful yarn. So, yeah, I hope you get to one of them. I'll leave the dates all below. I am running that gift with purchase, that little drawstring project bag with any of the John Arden textile yarns. Also, the other little gift I have been doing, I can't find it now. I'm just going to get one. So the other gift with purchase that I've got, and you may have received one of these if you've ordered off me recently. I think it's mainly orders over $100, but there's this little cardboard pocket, and in there is 20 little stitch markers. And these are just the best usable stitch markers. I use them all the time. They're nice and smooth, and there's 2 different sizes. But there's also, let's see if I can show you these, a set. There they are there. I sell these in a pack of 24, and they're needle tip stitch stoppers. I've got them on here. You put them on your needle tip so as though your stitches don't fall off or your stitches don't run away. In this little pocket, I have put one whole set. So you've got a set of needle tip stitch stoppers and a set of stitch markers, the little rings. So any purchases over $100, I will include that gift with purchase. And also any of my indie dyed yarn, I will include the pattern for that wee shawl. You may already have it. If you already have it, then you can just gift it to somebody else. A really nice shawl for a beginner knitter. So if you've got a friend or a family member that wants to get into knitting, that pattern, an 80 or 100 centimetre long cable. I use the Caidree 4.5 mil. And I'd recommend at least the 80 centimetre because with that shawl you do end up with about 300 stitches, but it's just garter stitch and cast on and cast off. So really nice beginner's pattern. And what's even better about it is they end up with something that's really quite wearable, quite a nice garment. I think that is all I had to talk about today. I am certainly enjoying this, and I'm pretty sure that next time I see you, I would have made some pretty good progress on that because it's nice, easy knitting. But the other things that I want to work on is definitely my Marie Wallen, and I know that a lot of you will be going, yes, Lisa, get it done. It's lingered for too long now. The Riptide Slipover vest is another one that I want to cast on, and the other one is my hand-dyed yarn, which is the sea glass, because how much fun will that be, actually having a whole garment that is hand spun by me. So I hope I have inspired you to cast on something new, and I think that's all I've got. Once again, a really big thank you to everyone that supports my channel and who has subscribed. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe, because we're getting really close to the 3,000, and that I'm going to do a big giveaway when I get to 3,000. So tell your friends and make sure everyone gets on and subscribes. Okay, thank you very much. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you hopefully in a couple of weeks. Have we got any trips? I don't think I'm away again. I am away in March. There's a knitting show down in Dunedin. I'm not going as a trader, I'm going just as a customer. I think it's only about 2 weeks' time. I will be away again before I see you next time. I'm going to add a couple of videos at the end as well. When we're away, I took some videos of some of the lakes. We went down south, but then we'd come home up the west coast, past Fox Glacier, Franz Joseph, into Greymouth, and then up to Greymouth and then Westport. So it was quite a drive. We really covered some kilometres, and I did get a couple of videos of just a couple of the lakes that we went by, so I will insert that at the end for you to have a look at. Okay, I'll see you all in a couple of weeks, and thank you for sharing this time with me. Bye.